Ashley, what role would you say does honesty play both with ourselves and with the group? And how do we navigate that in those hard moments?
If you don't go to group and are honest about where you're at and your answers, then you're really setting yourself up for more work. Because what happens if we go to group and we've relapsed and maybe we share it with group, but we're not going home and using our recovery action plan, we're not being honest with our spouse about things, then we still have this sense of, if my spouse really knew, and I'm not talking about full disclosure, I don't want to confuse anybody. We could probably drop in honesty versus full disclosure. But if we're not being honest, then we end up feeling like a fraud anyways at home. We're like, okay, I'm still kind of tiptoeing around certain issues. She asked me what's going on. I don't really want to go into it, so I'm saying nothing. That it's important to learn what total honesty looks like while you're in group and prepare for it ahead of time. Read the articles and the blogs we've put out to understand what level of honesty you should be having during group. I mean, you should be fully honest. I hope that didn't trigger any betrayed spouse. Like, it's different than full disclosure, but be prepared. Go in with the mindset and saying, I'm going to be honest at all costs, radical honesty, because hiding and sneaking and minimizing is what got me here. And I don't want that. And so commit to that on the front end. And then when you're in group and you're sharing, it can be so tempting to leave out a portion that makes us look bad or is embarrassing. And we are trying to get out every little bitty bit of cancer of weed that's growing. And we don't want to see you have to come back here. We don't want to, I mean, we do want you to come back, but we don't want to see you come back because your marriage blew up again. We don't want to see you come back because your spouse left because you didn't do fully the work. So I guess that would be my encouragement, is go into group fully honest and mentally prepare for it.
One of the primary mindsets I think we're trying to overcome in group is that performance mindset of I'm fine, everything's good, and we're trying to hide the bad stuff and only emphasize the good stuff. And if we're going through a rough patch or just not feeling very motivated in our recovery, I think there is that temptation to perform and act like, hey, I'm, group's great and I'm good. And versus what we can learn if we come to group and say, I'm struggling with this. I'm getting disillusioned. I'm getting frustrated. I feel like I'm not changing fast enough. Sometimes saying that out loud and having other people go, oh yeah, I've been there too. Like, oh, yeah, because sometimes we can get in our head like, everybody else seems to be doing great. Everybody else loves group. Everybody else is saying how much they're learning. And I'm kind of stuck right now. And I think just naming that, one, gets us to lay down that performance mindset, and two, gives other people the opportunity to connect with us and to share where they've been. And when we know, like in any situation, when we know we're not alone, it often gives us the very thing we need to grow through that.
I think one of the paradigms that is a shift when coming into group is just how much honesty is appreciated, and not in all facets of life. Not is that this case where honesty is appreciated, and when we get to experience group where the honesty comes out, it's refreshing.
Yes.
And I think back to the intimacy pyramid. We had them on the podcast of just that base, like the honesty is that base of relationships, and especially in groups. I think it's Ted and Pillar 1, I think it's Sick as Our Secrets, to where like this is that moment, Ashley, as you were saying, like get all of it out. Like if we're hiding stuff, that's still shame that has to be removed. It's toxic shame. And we have that group is the best and safest place to start being the most authentic and honest version of ourselves.
Yeah, and watch for those like little sneaky lies that we tell ourselves. If you had a relapse and you come up and you say, I relapsed, I'm going to implement my recovery action plan. You're feeling kind of proud for being honest, but it wasn't just a relapse. You actually binge watched porn for a whole week and maybe did some other things. And so really draw out the honesty with your group, not in graphic detail, but to try to be honest, even to say, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I relapsed every single night, because like those numbers matter. We can leave group and say, I still feel a little bit of shame because I don't feel like I was fully vulnerable with what happened. And your guys and your gals are going to rally around you and try to help you, and try to help you have a plan to say, what on the escape plan needs to change, what on your 3 circles needs to change. And the more information you share, the better you can adapt your tools to be better prepared next time. And so just to get it all out there.
Yeah, the German theologian Dietrich Bonhoeffer is known for saying, beware the cleaned up confession. That even though we're confessing sin, we're still trying to look good while doing it. And he says the truth is we are sinners, and we're not trying to like be okay with that or normalize it. But in the confession, the goal is to acknowledge the depth of our sin so that we can receive the fullness of forgiveness through Christ and others. And I think that's what you're hitting at, Ashley, is if I'm not willing to share the depth of it, then people's acceptance of me only goes so far, because then I do walk away going, well, yeah, but they don't know the rest of it.
Yes.
And I felt too guilty or shameful or whatever to share it. And it kind of stays then in that secretive place that is more likely to provoke another relapse or more poor choices. So I just think of that phrase, beware the cleaned up confession, because it doesn't help us.